Welcome, guys, to the snazzy vest, but my god, it's like 30 degrees in here.
I can see you're already a bit shinier than you used to be.
There shined a shiny Myre in the middle of the stream.
Hello, and welcome to another special episode of Fortnightly Frontier. I am your host, Darjanator. Over there is my co-host, Myre, and today we shall be talking about a very special new addition to Star Citizen.
You didn't have to talk to the audience like that.
It's a special episode.
Like you were inviting them to bed. Hello, and welcome to another special episode of...
Well, at least now you know I have the capacity. And choose not to abuse my powers.
All right, anyway.
Right, yes. Today's episode, okay, to get back into my proper voice. Today's episode is about the Origin Jumpworks 890 jump.
Jump!
There's two jumps in that name.
Jump.
It's a bit redundant. And it is, well, currently, as the time of the recording, it is about... It's BTU Wave 1 for patch 3.6.2 of Star Citizen, and that is the patch that brings us the 890 jump.
It's the second to last feature of...
It is the second to last feature. The last feature would be ship rentals, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Can confirm that we don't have those yet. This patch is only 890 jump. And... what you think about it?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
What do you think of? It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, okay. So, what do I think about it? Well, first of all, it is the first capital ship to become flight ready in Star Citizen. It looks amazing from the get-go. When you get inside that ship, you just know that it's on a whole different level as far as what you're supposed to, what it is compared to everything else in the game that we have so far. I think that it's an amazing example of what the devs can do when they want to make things like this. Like, it's a building essentially.
Yeah.
It's an awesome display of their art basically.
And opulence.
That's right. But I always gameplay wise, where's the gameplay in that?
This ship is not meant for gameplay. This ship is only meant to show everybody else in the verse that you are better than them. There's your gameplay.
Well, if that's the game, then sure. I mean, you're not wrong. They did mention though on Friday that you would be able to actually in the future have missions to get NPCs to book these rooms, and then you'd basically carry them from place to place. I imagine you could also do that with players as well, but I don't think players would be paying as much as the NPCs would possibly be doing.
It's possible. I mean, you have players that are gonna get rich very quickly, but those kind of players will already have 890s of their own, I suppose. Unless it's, those kind of... They're very into RP and not as much into just hoarding everything possible in the game.
I mean, as far as getting rich quick or whatever, when the game gets released, you bring up a good point. Because what we've seen on the subreddit so far, when as the ship came out, is that things like refueling this thing costs a lot of money, a lot of credits, and it kind of brought up the discussion that it looks like maybe the people who do spend a lot of money on Star Citizen buying these big ships, they're not gonna be as pay to win as people have, I guess, initially thought. Because whilst you do, you pledge for the hull, and so you get the ship on the starting line, everybody more or less essentially has about the same amount of UEC. You can buy extra UEC now, but you're not getting your money's worth. I think it's something crazy like a dollar a UEC or something, or like
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
stupid because
Well,
one
no,
mission,
it's not $1 USC. It's a cent per USC.
a cent USC, which is still very stupid.
It is because so the ship, what I've been able to glean, has about 23 or 25,000 quantum fuel, which is enough to get you from Crusader to ArcCorp and back 5 times.
Right.
And that costs about 20,000 Alpha UEC to refuel right now.
Right.
Something like that. It costs a lot. The ship is fast, but it guzzles. Operating costs is where this will really shine.
Exactly. So like, even if people do spend like how much is this ship now? $890, you know, for the memes. Even if people do shell out that much money to be able to fly this on the starting line of Star Citizen, they're only going to be able to fly it for so long before they're back to square one with everybody else, and then they're going to have to start grinding the reputation and the UEC just to be able to fly it again. Yeah. So for me,
also,
as a
just a bit of an interruption. Reina asks in chat, was that a Dom Perignon? That was actually a Jean-Luc.
That was a Jean-Luc. It's I don't know if there are any more Easter eggs in this on the ship.
I found.
There might be. I feel like if there are, that there might be in like any of the books that are hiding in the ship. But a lot of the props are still not 100% done. This ship is still in the PTU. But yeah, it's a Jean-Luc, and the everything about it is one whole Easter egg to Star Trek, because the bottle itself says Jean-Luc, obviously Jean-Luc Picard. You know, the winery
this is 10 forward we're in right now.
The winery of the bottle is you know, it says from France, and the year 1982 was apparently the year that Sir Patrick Stewart was actually cast for the role. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, the ship is awesome, and I can see a lot of, not even just like, of course, the more practical people, like, okay, so NPCs doing missions or whatever, you can like ferry NPCs, and if you wanted to, you could go downstairs and see them interacting, and that's cool. But I think that RP communities and just like people who want to hang out not in Discord and have fun, you know, with using the new face over IP, which works really, really well this patch as well.
It does, yeah.
I
haven't actually tested it. I haven't actually tested it yet because I never actually was able to get my webcam to capture at more than about 22 FPS.
Right.
I think my CPU's on the slow side for when it comes to FOIP, unfortunately.
Right. We should we should test that like after this podcast.
Sure. It could be that the latest update actually fixed all that.
Yeah. Like there is one bug in Face of IP right now that is kind of like just stopping it right at the finish line for being perfect for me at the moment, and that is everything works. You know, you can now smile without like your teeth piercing through your lower lip like some goofy demon. And you can now call people as you always have been before across the verse, and that all works. And they can hear you, can hear them. But the Face over IP itself only works if so. I can't see the other person's face moving, even if they have everything set up, unless they go into third person. Then I can see it all, and it works amazingly, and vice versa. So it's a strange bug there. So I need to like do an issue council on that, because I'm not sure if anybody else is really testing that in earnest at the moment.
So so back to the ship, would you say that this is solely aimed at the RPers?
Yes. The RPers and the people who just want to show off, because right now, of course, you know, you can get so many 890s, you can put 12 down and make a pizza. But when the PU comes out,
on Reddit.
Yeah, but when it gets pushed out into the PU, it's going to be very rare. And when the game gets pushed out altogether, it'll be rarer still, because you're not looking at 1 hour or like 12-minute expedited like insurance claims anymore. You'll be looking at much more extrapolated times for all that stuff, because of course things are gonna be a bit more, I guess, what's the word? Final, you know?
Mm.
Like, you might have one, but it might be a hanger queen because you're scared of bringing it out because you know what kind of people would be drawn to that kind of thing.
That is true. But then again, it's also the shields are OP on this. I was getting attacked. So it's a really silly story. I quantumed into ArcCorp
Mm-hmm.
and smashed into two UE ships that were in orbit around ArcCorp, and
Right.
immediately got crime stat.
Right.
So one of the ships, I think, actually got destroyed. The other one started firing at me, and it was the Valkyrie. It had the main guns and two turrets firing at me, and all the time, the ship computer just kept announcing, like, front shields under fire, shields 100%, front shields under fire, shields 100%. They were not able to even start getting my ships down. That's how good they are on this ship.
We did some
right
testing earlier today, and I forget the weapons that they were using, but it was a Constellation fully kitted out with, I think, the scatter guns because it's such a big target. And I think on paper the Constellation should be doing 10,000 damage per second. To put that in perspective, this ship right here, the 800 jump with all its guns like bearing on one target, does about 4,000 to 5,000 DPS. And I think it wasn't able to bring down a shield face past 97% before overheating. So I think maybe it needs to be tweaked a little bit. But
Nerf, please.
Yeah, but as far as the bigger ships actually staying put when like smaller things ram into them, it's pretty cool. But I think that there was a Vanguard Warden next to my 890 jump, and it was like just in front of me. So what I did was I yawed to the right, pitched up, yawed to the left, pitched down, and the Vanguard blew up.
So
you can just turn into things and kill them.
You bonked it on the head.
Yeah, you can just go like a dinosaur and kill things with your 890 jump. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's maybe slightly overpowered right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are we now?
We are in the Master Suite in the 890 jump towards the rear. That was the main foyer that has like seats where your guests can wait for you. And then this is, of course, the main sitting room, so you can talk to your guests or whatever and plot world domination in the peace and quiet.
So when you're not plotting world domination in the meeting room.
That's right. That's right. This is a more intimate domination. Wait. But it's a really cool ship. Like I think what's his name again? Oh geez.
It is indeed the largest penis extension right now.
That is right.
There are ships that are as big in diverse, like the Reclaimer. I was surprised that it is actually at the same size. And the Hammerhead, similar size. But those aren't penis extensions. Those are workships. This is basically just look how tiny my penis is.
It's like a magnifying glass for the peen.
It has walk-in showers. Every suite has walk-in showers. Yeah.
And this here is the main kitchen for the Master Suite guest. And forgive. Do you remember his name? The developer. I'm drawing a blank. It's because I'm not wearing my glasses. The Ginger developer. He's the lead ship pipeline dev at the moment. John Crew. That's the one. He mentioned that this suite, even though yes, it's fit for a captain or a king or president, like this suites later on apparently may be used to house. Let's say that you were using this for its gameplay intended purpose, which is to ferry NPCs. You would use that suite to have like the highest paying NPC. That's where they would go.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Not the owner. Yeah.
No.
I guess you could have this ship be a rent. I think a lot of people will actually go out and rent these ships out.
Yeah.
So just like you can buy a car on lease, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting at how far the back end kind of calculations go with Star Citizen. Would you be able to lease the ship to an NPC to fly for you on the behalf of you to earn you money?
Or just rent the ship out and just collect the rent money, and that's it.
So this ball behind the captain's chair actually is going to play a big part. Not now per se, but later on once that those HUD elements come through. And as Trodor says in chat, in my opinion, the 890 jump is going to be best used within corporations as a flagship or headquarters. So that ball is supposed to be used for fleet. I forget what the term they use, but basically fleet high command would be using a ball like that to be able to see where all the ships within a fleet are and coordinate them. We're actually getting the first gameplay around being able to direct pilots and gunners to do different things about 3.8, but they haven't necessarily talked about how that's going to work.
Oh, another thing that's connected with that is this ship was the first one that has a bridge set up, so any seat can be the pilot seat.
Right. That's right. I mean, that's for all
they all
ships,
have
though.
joysticks. Yeah, all of them have joysticks, dual sticks. And currently, it's the captain's seat that can fly at both on the main bridge and on the battle bridge.
Right.
But yes, once you have seat designations up, I don't see why you wouldn't want to have the one of the two seats at the front be the helm, because that kind of makes sense. The captain wants to be higher up in the lording over everybody else's position.
Yeah, I mean, wherever possible, I believe that's the basketball court as well. Basketball not included just yet with your purchase.
I was so hoping there'd be one, but as soon as we get proper throwing of those small crates, because right now it's still broken, I think people will start playing basketball. Because
if only the crates were small enough. I mean, we could try, but
I don't think you can just throw them. They just fall on the ground instead of flying in the direction you want them to. It's those are the sort of gameplay loops that are currently still missing in Star Citizen.
Gameplay hoops,
breaks my heart. God damn
it. So we just passed through the main waiting room from the hangar before we then get towards the main lower portion of the ship. This is the med bay.
We are currently on the side of where the guests would arrive after they land.
So it's a funny design, honestly, the lower part as far as the guests are concerned, because everywhere else of the ship is designed the way more or less a cruise ship would be designed, in that crew never really mingle with staff. Sorry, no, crew never mingle with guests. And this is the only part of the ship where a guest may bump into crew, but at the same time, it's kind of designed in a way that it doesn't necessarily look luxurious. In that passageway, the waiting room by the hangar, and then you go around here and then up this lift that has guests on the floor.
Yes, you're not supposed to venture any further where the crew components crew quarters start. Which is just past these weapon racks.
Yeah, I suppose in real life though there is no there is no hangar where a guest can fly in onto the cruise ship. I don't know. Maybe some ships do have.
No, some cruise ships do have helicopter pads. Yeah, sure, but they're. I don't think they're meant for guests arriving. They're more meant for medical evacuations and maybe some sort of actual work being done on.
So if a guest was to arrive there, they wouldn't be surprised if they did bump into a crew member. So I think it still works. The main points of entry on this ship, of course, are those starboard and portside docking collars and the main lift that goes up into the
straight
ship.
Into the foyer. They meet up in the very same spot, and I guess that's But if you are using this as your own personal luxury yacht, then any sort of point of entry is valid. Be it the hangar, that always worked.
Those lights?
Those lights always worked. It's these lights that are just blinking from out of nowhere.
Oh, okay. All right. And so go on.
Well, so you whether you're approaching via the hangar, via the ground vehicle hangar, or any of the other points of entry, it doesn't really matter whether you interact with the crew or not, because you just arrived. You're gonna want to boss somebody around. It's better that you mingle with the crew.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So this we just exited is the vehicle hangar, and it is the only vehicle hangar on a ship right now capable of carrying a ballista, or so we've been told. I don't think anybody's actually tried it out.
I did.
You
this
did?
Morning.
And?
Yeah, this afternoon we fit a ballista, but the ballista isn't even. So we fit the ballista. Like, oh, that's nice. How boring. So we put the ballista out, and then we had some testes fly in, not one but two MISC razors on either side. And then we put two Ursa rovers back towards the life support. We parked two Ursa rovers either side of that, and then we put the ballista in. And there was still room for like several like dragonflies to fill up the gaps.
Wow,
it's crazy, but we'll see how that all works, because I'm sure that like without tying down a ship, there might be some bug or issue or something that will cause everything to explode. Like. Yeah. I wonder what the limit is for ship in ship, or is it just if it sits, it works?
Anyway, this is the battle bridge now. It's got the red alert thing going on at all times for some reason. And something I discovered. It is, and this is also works for the main bridge, is that the left front seat has access to the 4 missile turrets, but the right seat has access to the 2 laser turrets.
Yeah, so for now, those missile turrets have to be manned, and I imagine that, if you had somebody in the gunner seat in the battle bridge and somebody in the gunner seat upstairs, you'd be able to man more. But later on down the line, you'd be able to actually have a server blade or something automatically, those knives, automatically do that instead for you when that comes along.
It's a nice kitchen, maybe not big enough to cook food for everyone if you have a full ship. Okay, speaking of full ship, I took quite a bit of time, and I went through the entire thing, counting everything, every little surface that has a sit function on it. Do you want to know how many I counted?
I know how many you counted.
Yes, but do you want to know? Oh, yeah, actually, so you already know. I'll tell you. It's 215. It is literally more than 4 times of what the server can handle right now.
But then that includes people sitting on those beds and not mingling with the crew, and people sitting on toilets.
Yeah, I guess. No, toilets, no. You can't sit on toilets. So there's even more to come once they bring the toilets up online.
Were you able to count the chairs in the master suite, because those just came in with this patch?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of choice for your bum, basically, with the jump.
Yep. And these are great. Unlike the 600i where everything is open plan and you have one huge room with 4 beds in it.
Yeah. Whose idea was that?
Separate headquarters. Sleeping quarters for the crew.
Yeah.
7 of them in total. Yep.
The 600i has more of a dormitory than it does an actual.
It does, although I still say that there's some design elements along the floor and the walls that sort of lead me to believe that there could possibly be walls that pop out from those things if you want privacy.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same lead producer was with this as with the 600i, so they've learnt a lot since that last ship was made. And he didn't even mention that they've learned things that they could potentially then bring back in subsequent remakes or reworks of the 600i. So yeah, I mean, one can only wait and see, because I feel like after seeing this, owners of the 600i might feel just a tiny bit underwhelmed by what they have now.
That is true. However, it is a model lower in the ranks of the Origin portfolio. So, you know, I've seen a picture of a 600i landed on top of the 890, and just from that you can tell that it's just in a different league. So
I wonder, did that 600i landed on the front?
Yes.
Was it graved on, or was it just like floating on?
Because it was on a planet, so it had gravity. So yes, it didn't use the gravity field of the hangar, so it just used the gravity field of the planet. Right. Although here's something I haven't tried out, because we know that the landing pad has 1g of gravity. And if you land an 890 jump, and if you're on the landing pad, is there 2Gs? Because remember, like we spotted a couple of times when they were building Lorville, that they put these, one of those habs inside Lorville onto the planet, and it had gravity of 3, because the hab had a gravity of 1, and Lorville had a gravity of 1. And Hurston had a gravity of 1, so they just kept stacking up. So, do you think they actually figured out how to disable gravity once you're in a gravity field dynamically?
Perhaps. I mean, like, I never checked. But that's a good question. Like, does it exclude the gravity, and does it double it when it's there? And is that why?
Physics grids. How do they work?
How do they work? Yeah.
But anyway, yes. Currently, looking at the exterior, and it is just so outrageous.
Yeah, they did a great job making it look less like the Mighty Ducks mask, for sure.
I never actually got that, but
you didn't get. I mean, just look it up.
Because I know, but I was never a Mighty Ducks fan, so
right.
I can kind of see a Ducks bill, but it's a bit of a stretch.
More like the cartoon. The cartoon Ducks bills all look kind of similar.
Yeah.
They had a pretty nice cartoon. I mean, I knew the Mighty Ducks by the cartoon, not by the actual sports team.
Oh, okay. I only know it from the movies.
Yeah.
And
then again, are the Mighty Ducks a real thing, or are they just a movie?
I think they are.
All right. Yeah, I only remember the cartoon when I was younger. It was only,
but they're not as good as they are in the movie. I think it's one of the worst teams. But yeah, that ass is again slight Transformer vibes. Like I said that the Terrapin's engine, the rear actually reminds me of Bumblebee's face, and everybody that I mentioned it to goes, oh yeah. But yeah, and more Decepticon vibes from this ship's thruster array.
So the way you're flying under this ship now reminds me of that opening scene in Star Wars.
But it played in reverse.
Yeah, but it played in reverse. That's cool. That's really cool.
If anybody in the community would like to do a shot-by-shot remake of Star Wars,
let's wait for the Idris.
No, but this ship would be a perfect stand-in for a Star Destroyer.
Okay.
Just because of the shape.
Right.
It's white, and it's like a pointed triangle. So, there you go.
Yeah, why not? Give Hazgaha a bigger project.
Yeah, because he doesn't need any more, right?
That's where he's helping so many other, he's helping 10 different people from the community out with their stuff.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. But yeah, now we're back on a loop here with the 890, and yeah, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I've been playing it in the PTO ever since it came out, and it feels so nice hanging out in it. But the best part was when I was hanging out with Paul from the Astropub.
Mm-hmm.
and he had a vest on just like you, but he also had a tie and a top hat.
Okay.
And he was playing Baroque music in the background.
Baroque music. Oh, Baroque. Okay.
Baroque music, yes.
Yeah, not broke music, but if you did buy a ship like this, you would be broke.
Just playing the world's smallest violin. That's the Baroque music. And we had a discussion like the mezzanine floor, which has the access to the bar and the restaurant and the conference room.
Yeah.
That has this weird, just up there, it just has this weird sculpture that, that needs to be one of those things that you can choose what you want to put there. Like in the Phoenix, you can put either the table or the grand piano. Here, you know what you need to put?
Another piano?
Chamber orchestra.
A chamber orchestra, not just the piano,
or the string quartet. Just chairs with the instruments then next to them, and then when music gameplay is eventually put in, you could have 4 NPCs just playing all the time.
The annoying thing is that that's not actually a bad place for that kind of thing, because there's seating all around the top of the atrium as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd actually be pretty cool. But you know what this ship would be even cooler for?
What?
FPS combat.
I guess maybe in like 2-3 years after the artists are able to finish like a rundown version or an abandoned version, you'd be able to put on some NPC squatters that you need to get rid of.
Or why not just when it gets pushed out into the PU, find one and board it and kill the people? Maybe. I could see this being used as an FPS level though for people who do play large PvP scale ops though. Like you have a bunch of people defending and you have to find and kill the VIP or something.
Yeah, like that's actually a good point. Yeah. Have a VIP being transported by this, and maybe a squadron, an escort squadron, like a bunch of ravens or something like that, or sabers. I mean, the raven is a very specific one that really wouldn't work for escort. But and your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get to the VIP, not kill them, but kidnap them.
It's one of those things.
That's how you get the large payouts. Extortion.
Right. I mean, like, I'm thinking more like sandbox PvP as opposed to like actual missions that
all right.
would be better orchestrated. I mean, you could probably orchestrate that as well with players, but it'd be like herding cats to get it all working. It's like a scripted event.
There is also the thing that I kind of doubt that this ship was done with FPS combat in mind. The line sights are all wrong, and sight lines, not line sights. Yeah. And
there are like no chest high walls.
Yeah, exactly. No chest high walls. You have chest high chairs, but you kind of really have to position yourself perfectly if you want them to block anything. And there's no refueling. Rearming. There's no ammo crates anywhere. It's
armories though.
There is a single armory.
Or armory drawers.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you need more. Oh, like in a suite, like you just open a random chest of drawers, and in there is like a submachine gun instead of perfectly pressed silk shirts.
Perfectly pressed bullets.
Yes, indeed.
No ammo, sir.
It's bespoke ammo.
Only the finest.
Beluga ammo. rolled only by the finest Cuban virgins.
That's right. Wait, what?
But yeah, we're joking around, but you can totally see that sort of mentality showing up when you have a ship like this, because it is extravagance turned up to 11. But it has 2 saunas, for crying out loud.
So I mean, like all this, like aside, right?
Mm.
I think the biggest thing about the 890 jump for me is not what it is, you know, like as a ship, but at least it kind of, for me now, my I guess my faith or whatever. I think faith is the wrong word, but it kind of makes me feel a lot better about the status of other ships, like the Kraken, for instance, that has a bridge where other ships can like land on and stuff, and all that stuff working when it does come out, because it works so well, almost flawlessly in its tier 1 or tier 0 implementation on this ship right here. So even larger ships, you know, I feel they don't seem like a pipe dream to me anymore.
Yeah, like it just depends on how well that sort of link between the two ships on a gravity pad can perform while in movement. You know, when I think we only tested it standing still, but you know, this is something we could test out after the podcast. Sure. One of us grabs an 890 jump, one of us grabs like an 85x or a 300 and lands one on the other, and then we go flying the 890 jump and see how vigorously we have to fly to shake the ship off.
Right, or if it does.
Or if it even does, yeah.
It might just mag on once it lands on the thing.
Sure, and if there's absolutely nothing you could do, or you know what, just crash into a moon and scrape along the ground and see what happens. Because for players, it really is nothing. You are cemented firmly in the physics grid of the ship you are in, and you know, even though from a sort of RP standpoint, or from even just a physics standpoint, if the ship you're in is subjected to high Gs, you should feel that on the inside. But I guess the inertial dampers are just perfect in Star Citizen right now.
That's right. Oh man. But yeah, what else? I mean, like apart from the 600i, what else happened today?
890
this week. But yeah, apart from the 890, what else happened this week?
I think like yesterday or 2 days ago was the Aegis event. An invite event. They showed off a brand new ship that was also later today not released, but opened. Yeah, released to the
concept sale.
Yeah, it's a concept sale of another ship. Yes,
That's
and it
right.
is a mine layer.
The Aegis Nautilus. It looks interesting. I'll give it that.
I'm still confused about the whole Aegis naming scheme, because you have the Gladius, which is Latin for sword. You have the Gladiator, which were named after the Gladius. Then you have Retaliator, the Reclaimer, and a bunch of others. They're just I don't. There's no rhyme or reason for the naming scheme. And
not really.
The naming scheme, yeah. And then they name one of the largest ships they make after a sea snail.
Elba.
Well, no, I meant the Nautilus.
Oh right, I thought the Nautilus is isn't that like from some kind of book? I think it's from fiction.
It is Captain Nemo's ship in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. However, a Nautilus is actually an animal, an ancient
named
animal.
After it?
Yeah, it was some sort of undersea
what came
thing.
first, the snail or the Nemo?
It is a cephalopod, yes. Sole extant family of the superfamily, whatever. Sometimes these Wikipedia articles are just written by.
Because in video games as well, I mean, in League of Legends, there's a character called Nautilus as well, so I'm sure it's all based on the same.
Based on, I think it's the animal, just predates everyone. Oh, and the nautilus, not nautilus, means sailor in Latin.
All right, well, maybe that's where it's from. I mean, like during the Aegis event, they gave out pins, and the pin looked like a sea mine as well. So because it's a mine ship, and they have ideas of sea mines, and I mean, it's a ship, and ships and nowadays in water, it made sense to give it a watery name. So why not Nautilus? I guess. Yeah. Have you played the mini game for the Nautilus yet?
Not yet. I watched you play.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's like a PvP minesweeper.
It really is.
Which I kind of guess only makes sense because this is a mine-laying ship. And
really,
it's not just a mine-laying ship, it's a minesweeper as well, because it has drones on it that are able to scoop up any mine.
Disable, and sweep up.
Yeah, sweep up, yeah. Not just destroy them, but, add to your arsenal. Yeah. I wonder, I don't think that anyone's ever, has confirmed this. How do you restock it? Does it have like a production facility on board that creates these mines, or would you actually just have to go to a shipyard and just have them restock?
I mean, it's not on the store page, so I imagine that it would just be something you go to you'd probably just like land at a station and then have to do the whole rearm refuel thing, unless you're out in like the Hadrian system or something, where there are mines everywhere anyway, because the humans were super paranoid about this Xian.
Huh. Yeah, because it's kind of weird to imagine that it's these docile-looking space stations have enough mines to keep a fleet of Nautiluses armed during one of these player-driven missions. It's kind of weird.
True. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. As far as rearming and refueling your ships coming along, they are bringing about kiosks for doing that, so you no longer have to like land and do it from there. You can like rearm and refuel all your ships at once from a kiosk.
I don't know if that's how it's going to work. I think they're just removing the functionality from Mobiglass. You'll have to land, get out, get to a kiosk, and then do whatever you want.
Think you could do both?
I don't know. Maybe a kiosk will give you more here's the word that keeps
granularity.
Granularity. Maybe if I pronounce it like that, it'll actually exit my mouth properly. To refuel, maybe how if you take your car to a fuel station, you have fuel saving fuel, and you have premium fuel, and you have race fuel. Do you think
they don't sell race fuel where I live? But do I think that they'll have that in the future of the game?
Yeah,
possibly.
I mean, would it even make sense? Like,
yes.
you get let's say you have 3, or maybe just 2 different kinds of hydrogen fuel for your thrusters. One lasts longer, but the other gives you more boost.
So I don't think it's gonna be a fact like you get hydrogen and then like unleaded hydrogen. They did mention in a brief that you'd be able to make fuel out of several different kinds of of gas, and like ionize that and use that as your fuel. So I imagine down the line you'd be able to request a different. I don't know enough about chemistry or physics to know which elements combust better when ionized to power a spaceship or whatever. But I imagined down the line, I mean, it might not even be hydrogen that might be what everybody uses. It might be something else. And then when you go to a CTR or you go to a fuel pump or something, you would choose what type of fuel you want based on how much they cost and that kind of thing. You know, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Or even for quantum fuel as well, not just hydrogen. Yeah.
I imagine quantum fuel is just quantum fuel. But as for like flying your ship, hydrogen is just one of the gases you can use. That's already in the fuel briefing. Like hydrogen is just one of the gases.
That's cool. So how do we get to this point?
We were talking about
tangent. Yeah.
It is warm.
It is warm, yeah. So you feel like wrapping things up for now and actually going into the game and play and do some testing like we said we were gonna do.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So why don't you see us out?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching or listening to the Fortnightly Frontier, either live on Twitch TV or on Spotify and YouTube at youtube.com/FortnightlyFrontier. I have been Myre, and over there on the left has been the one and only Mr. Darjanator. We will see you in another couple of weeks with more Star Citizen news, and as always... Wait, no. We'll see you in the verse. That's what you say, right?
That's the one, yeah.
All right, bye.